Hey film fans, welcome to Cinepro, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps. From heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters. In a lake called Placid Lake, a police officer named Hank appears along with a diver. The two are on an exploration tour to ensure the lake is safe from fish and wild creatures. The diver goes into the water while Hank waits on the boat. After a while, the diver feels something unusual. He sees a turtle and thinks it caused the feeling, so he continues his work as usual. Suddenly, an unknown wild creature attacks him, pulls him out of the water, and drags him toward Hank. Hank helps him out of the water, but is shocked to find that half of the diver's body has been eaten by the wild creature, which devoured him savagely. The diver dies shortly after. Later, Officer Jack meets Hank, who tells him about the strange way the diver died, but they still don't know what kind of wild creature was responsible. Then a woman named Kelly, a paleontologist from the American Museum of Natural History, arrives. Her mission is to investigate the mysterious animal or ferocious fish that ate the diver. Hank takes her to the morgue to examine the body, but Kelly is visibly terrified because it's her first time in such a place. When she sees the body, she is shocked and horrified. She tells them that the creature responsible must be a reptile. She then requests to visit the lake to gather more evidence. When they arrive, Hank introduces her to his friend Jack, and they greet each other. They take a boat to investigate another victim of the predator in the lake. Upon arrival, they meet the victim's wife, named Beckerman, and ask her about her husband's death, hoping to find a clue. However, the woman surprises them by admitting she killed her husband because he was sick and refused to seek treatment. Thinking she's crazy, they leave her and move on. On their way back, they come across a deer head floating in the water. The situation becomes more alarming as the number of victims increases. They set up tents and establish a camp near the lake to continue searching for the mysterious creature. Kelly and Jack seem to grow closer. Then, a crocodile expert named Hector arrives in his private plane. He's a friend of Kelly and surprises the group by revealing that the mysterious creature is a crocodile responsible for all the attacks. Based on his expertise, he explains that crocodiles migrate north because the lake is connected to the ocean, and he offers to help them catch the dangerous crocodile. The next day, everyone boards a boat to continue the search for the crocodile. Hector and Jack dive into the water wearing diving suits, while Kelly and Hank wait on the boat with another officer. After a while, the boat's rope is suddenly pulled with great force by something mysterious in the water, likely the crocodile. Kelly falls off the boat, and the officer quickly tries to cut the rope. They see the rope slip free from whatever was holding it. They manage to start the boat and rush to rescue Kelly. Jack and Hector emerge from the water, but when the officer goes to retrieve the rope, the crocodile suddenly leaps out of the water and bites his head off. Back at the camp, Kelly is deeply shaken by what happened. Jack comforts her, assuring her that they will catch the dangerous crocodile. The two grow even closer. One day, during an argument between Hank and Hector, a ferocious bear suddenly attacks them and is about to devour them. However, the crocodile emerges from the water and eats the bear, shocking everyone with its massive size. The next day, Hector and a female officer take his private plane to the lake in an attempt to capture the crocodile. Meanwhile, the others head to Mrs. Beckerman to continue their investigation. Strangely, they find crocodile tracks near her house and are astonished at how the crocodile could reach her without attacking her. Even more surprising, they see her preparing a cow as food for the crocodile. They confront her and learn that she lied about her husband, who was actually eaten by the crocodile. It turns out she has developed an attachment to the crocodile, having raised and fed it for 6 years since it arrived at the lake. She claims the crocodile has never harmed her and has made the lake its home, defending its territory against intruders, including her husband, who tried to kill it but failed. In the end, the crocodile ate him. Hector prepares to dive into the water despite his police friend's attempts to stop him. He insists that the crocodile cannot harm him as long as he is in the water. Hector dives but resurfaces shortly after. Suddenly, the crocodile attacks, forcing Hector to use an inflatable raft to escape just in time. The crocodile nearly crushes the plane with its powerful jaws. Jack warns Hector not to do anything reckless again, or he will arrest him, as his actions endangered everyone. Jack suggests killing the crocodile since capturing it seems too difficult due to its size. Hector objects and asks for a better solution, as the crocodile has environmental significance. Kelly also pleads with Jack, reminding him that his duty is to protect animals from extinction, not kill them. Hector proposes a plan to capture the crocodile using a cow from Mrs. Beckerman as bait. They intend to tranquilize the crocodile during its attack on the cow. The group proceeds with the plan, setting up the cow as bait and waiting for the crocodile to appear. Hours pass until night falls, and Hector notices movement. Suddenly, the crocodile appears and approaches the cow. Everyone gets ready. Hector lifts the cow, and as the crocodile attacks, Jack shoots it with a tranquilizer dart. However, the cow and the plane fall into the water. As Hector escapes from the plane, the crocodile attacks him, but he manages to climb back onto the plane. Hank jumps into the water to help him, but the crocodile suddenly emerges and chases them. They run to the car, trying to escape as the crocodile pursues them. During the chaos, Kelly falls from the car, and the crocodile moves toward her, ready to attack. Jack quickly gets out of the car and shoots at the crocodile to distract it. The crocodile hits him with its tail, knocking him into the water. Kelly manages to reach the plane with Hector Hector. Both are safe for the moment, but suddenly, the crocodile attacks again, entering the plane. Kelly and Hector manage to escape the water just in time, and they saw the crocodile stuck in the plane and unable to escape from it. It kept struggling and moving until it reached the shore. At this point, they realized they had managed to capture it. When they got closer, Jack took the tranquilizer gun and shot it until the crocodile was completely sedated and unable to move. But after a while, another crocodile emerged from the water. It attacked Hector and was about to get him if Jack hadn't quickly rushed to him and pulled him out of the water. Then the crocodile came at them again, but they shot it with the gun and took it down. After that, the police arrived with a large truck to carry the crocodile away. Jack and Kelly ended up together and got married. In the end, Mrs. Bickerman appeared feeding baby crocodiles, which meant that the two crocodiles were actually a pair, and that's how the story ended. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to get all the new updates.
Welcome to Recap Lee X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists. In minutes, the movie begins in 1993 in a poor country, and there is a poor blind boy. He couldn't walk, and the weather was rainy, so he fall down because he couldn't see anything. And at that time, his mother was helping him. He also had issues with his legs, which made walking even harder for him. The boy was sitting, eating, and didn't know what was happening because he was blind, which made it difficult for his mother to deal with him. After a while, his father entered with an umbrella, angry and upset with the boy, saying to his wife, "Why did you bring someone to be a burden on us? We don't want to live with him anymore. We want to be free from him." He even wanted to take the boy and throw him out on the street, but the mother said, "No, he's my son, and I won't throw him out on the street." At that moment, the father started hitting her hard. Then the father took the mother and forced her out of the house, wanting to leave her and the boy alone. But at that moment, the boy removed the veil from his eyes, revealing his blue eyes filled with immense anger. His father started moving strangely, stepping backward, while his mother watched her son, not understanding what was happening. Then we see the father committing suicide, and it becomes clear that the boy was controlling him with his eyes, making him kill himself. At that moment, his mother was terrified of him, asking, "What have you done? How could you kill your father like this?" The boy appeared angry, and his mother wanted to kill him. His eyes turned blue again, and he moved his hands toward his mother's neck as if to kill her, but he stopped and chose not to harm her. He left his mother and walked away down the street. 20 years later, we see a man standing in a bank. The man had a bag, opened it, and all the people in the bank started putting money into the bag. The man collected all the money, left the bank, and handed the bag to the blind man. It became clear that the blind man was controlling him with his eyes until he got the money he wanted. The blind man sat in a park, reading some magazines, happy and relaxed, while people walked by normally. Then he saw a little girl nagging her mother to buy her a specific toy, but the mother refused. The blind man stopped time, controlled everyone, and made them stay in their places. He made the mother buy the toy the girl wanted. However, he noticed another man moving normally, unaffected by his control. The blind man was confused, trying repeatedly to control him, but it didn't work. Suddenly, a car hit the man, and the blind man thought he was dead, and that he was finally free from him, unable to discover his secret. Later, we learned that the man survived the accident and was in the hospital. This meant the blind man's life was in danger. The blind man tried to confirm his ability to control people with his eyes by controlling everyone in the building across from him, successfully doing so. After some time, we learned that the man who caused the accident went to the blind man's house, demanding financial compensation. But the blind man had no money. He was a musician. The man who caused the accident realized the blind man was unemployed, so he offered him a job, which the blind man accepted. One day, the blind man saw the man again and realized he couldn't control him. He became furious, desperate to get rid of him. The blind man involved his friends and went to the place where the man was. He controlled everyone except the man, trying to harm him, but failing because of his leg disability. He made his friends attack the man, and one of them stabbed him in the back with a knife, but he didn't die. Then the blind man made the girl throw the man who hit him with the car out of the window. The man panicked, looking out the window, and the blind man made the girl electrocute him in the back. The blind man left them and walked away. We then learned that the man who fell out of the window died, prompting the police to investigate the man who hit him. The man explained what happened, saying that a blind man was controlling people and causing all this, but no one believed him. He told his friends, saying, "You might not believe me, but this is what happened." He showed them a camera recording that captured what the blind man did, convincing them of the truth. They altered the video to protect the girl who had thrown the man out of the window. The blind man hired 2 strong men to attack and kill the man. The man warned his friends that the blind man was coming with strong men to kill him. The strong men tried to kill him, but he managed to escape. During the fight, the blind man was hit in the eye. Realizing that if his eyes weren't on someone, he couldn't control them. The man and his friends used this to their advantage, blindfolding the blind man and taking the video to the police. However, the blind man
taking the video to the police. However, the blind man controlled 2 people in front of him, making them chase the man to shoot him. The blind man escaped, and the man ran after him. The blind man controlled everyone around him, gathering them against the man to stop him from pursuing him. He threatened a woman, making her lift her child as if to throw him to the ground. The man ran to save the child, but the blind man made two people throw a large rock at him, intending to kill him. The blind man stopped controlling people and came down to confirm the man's death. He saw blood coming from the man's mouth and thought, he's dead, and I'm finally free of him. When the blind man returned home, there were many police officers. Using his power, he controlled them, making them kill each other, except for one officer who was out of the blind man's sight and unaffected. This officer realized the truth about the blind man's ability. Later, we see the man's daughter talking to an elderly who turns out to be the blind man's mother. She says, "This is my son, and I want to see him," as she looks at his picture in the newspaper. And you know that he is wanted by the arrest. But the man who knows the truth about the blind did not die, and he had a copy of the real tape of the girl. And when she was stabbed at night, it became clear that she was the one who killed Todd because of the blind's strength. The blind man returns to his house and finds his mother, and there were police officers present. He controlled the police, wanted to either bring his mother or kill himself, but he kept crying until he received a phone call from the man who knows his truth, and he told him, "I sent your mother to your house." At that moment, he asked to meet. The police knew what was happening, and they gathered at that to try to finish off the blind. When the show began, he controlled everyone, made them look. At that moment, he appeared in front and kept sending him messages that he show. He told everything happening to these people is because of. Then he started killing them and made them jump off. The man kept telling him, "It's wrong for these people to die. Stop what you're doing." After that, the investigator fully realized the extent of the power of the person front. He stood behind him, held him at guns so he couldn't see, but the blind man knew how to control by seeing his eye mirror front. After that, he made him jump and commit suicide, and the people in the show got to see all these corpses, and they all went one out. The girl comes home and tells, "I spoke to your mother, found out what happened to us. Why are you doing this? Let's talk." The man wanted to get rid of. He controlled everyone who tried to catch. Then he left the girl, and there were many police officers outside. They were aiming a big spotlight against the control, but at that moment he tripped and made someone else take place. After that, he started control systems. He kept control until the man he told, "Leave people alone, stop her." The blind man wanted to control the girl and kill her, but the man saved to stop. That blind man started everyone wanted to jump off all kills. The man saved. "I won't let us." That moment, and they both fell. But we find out that at that moment, the police managed to catch time and blind so he'd stop his control. The normal man turned his sword light, while the blind man showed hide a line, unable to use his talent to control. The police kept him restrained so he wouldn't lose. We see him crying, regretting the life he just himself. He could have lived as a normal. The hatred inside because of what happened to his child, his father. The film ends like this. Fine. If you enjoyed today's movie, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate. See you in the next.
Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The movie starts today in the year 1868 in a region called the Keto Mountains. At that time, there was a fierce war between the rebels and the emperor's government. The rebels were on the verge of taking control of the war and winning, until a unit called the Shogun Forces, led by Saito, arrived. This unit was known for being decisive in wars, largely due to their strength, but especially because of a man named Himura Kenshin, a legendary samurai warrior with extraordinary sword skills. This was proven when, during the war, he managed to take down a large number of armed men on his own in a very short time. Shortly after, the emperor's forces won the war and raised the emperor's flag. Kenshin was overjoyed and thought to himself that finally a new era was beginning and the war was over. Everyone was ready to leave, but Saito called out to Kenshin by the name Badasai and told him, "It doesn't end like this. Men like us live by the sword and die by the sword." Kenshin looked at him for a moment, refused to kill him, stabbed his sword into the ground, and left the place. Later that night, one of the men who was supposed to have been killed got up again from amidst the corpses, surprised that he was still alive. As he started walking, he saw the sword Badasai had stabbed into the ground and realized it was his sword. Fast forward to the year 1878 in Tokyo. The emperor's army general gathered his military unit and told them that over the past 10 years, Japan had become a very strong nation and entered a new era. He encouraged his soldiers, praising them for bringing safety and security to the country, and declared that the era of fear and violence was over. Meanwhile, a man named Takeda, one of the wealthy individuals in the northern part of the city, gathered a group of his doctors and praised them for inventing a new type of opium. He discovered that it had the ability to turn weak people into monsters. After dismissing most of the doctors, he locked up the last two and had his guards eliminate the others. He revealed that he only needed one person to know the secret formula. The guards killed the remaining doctors, and Takeda chose a woman named Megumi to stay alive. Another man tried to escape through the window to save his life. The next day, there was a celebration in the city. Kenshin had just arrived and was walking through the market, overwhelmed with happiness and enjoying the lively atmosphere around him. Meanwhile, Saito was investigating the murder of a police officer in the street. Beside the body was a note signed by Badasai explaining the reason for the killing. However, Saito was certain that Badasai was not responsible, as the method of killing did not match his style. Back to Kenshin, who noticed a government decree with a picture of someone resembling him, labeled as Badasai the Killer from the Kamiya school. Suddenly, a woman named Kaoru attacked him, mistaking him for Badasai, the man the government was searching for. Kenshin dodged her attacks, explaining that he was not the person she was looking for. He was just a wanderer who avoided trouble. She calmed down and informed him of a rule prohibiting carrying swords in the street. Kenshin Kenshin showed her that his sword had a reversed blade, making it incapable of killing. She apologized for her actions and left. Not long after, Officer Saito visited Takeda and showed him the note found near the murdered officer, which was signed by Batusai. Takeda claimed that Batusai had died in the war 10 years ago and sarcastically asked if his ghost had returned to kill people. Saito accused Takeda of being involved and vowed to keep pursuing him until he was caught. After Saito left, Takeda's assistant informed him that Megumi had escaped, and another subordinate reported that a corrupt officer had sent a message saying Megumi was at the police station. Takeda became furious and ordered his samurai fighters to retrieve her. However, another man named Jin-Ee volunteered to handle the matter, and Takeda warned him to act wisely, as Megumi was the only one who knew the opium formula. While Megumi was at the police station, chaos erupted as Batusai arrived, killing everyone there mercilessly. Megumi managed to escape, knowing he was specifically after her. Batusai noticed her escape but did not pursue her immediately. At the same time, Kaoru was walking in the street when she encountered a severely injured police officer who collapsed from a bridge. Shortly after, Batusai passed by, and Kaoru recognized him from the wanted poster. She confronted him, asking why he claimed to be from the Kamiya school. It was revealed that Batusai's actions had tarnished the school's reputation, which her father had left her, leading to its closure. Batusai attacked her, and she was powerless against him. He even injured her arm and was about to kill her when Kenshin arrived just in time, since he has nowhere else to go. Kenshin tells her, "You know I used to be a killer." She responds, "What I know is that you're Kenshin the Wanderer, and we all have things we don't like to talk about." She insists he return to the school. When they arrive, Kuru is surprised to see Megumi coming out of the bathroom. Megumi greets them and acts as if she owns the place. That night, Kuru asks Megumi again who she is and what she's doing there, but Megumi refuses to answer. Meanwhile, Takeda arrives at the school. As soon as Megumi sees him, she quickly hides. Takeda approaches Batusai and asks if he was the one who defeated 10 fighters at the school earlier. He introduces himself as a businessman and offers Kenshin a large sum of money to work for him. Kenshin refuses the offer, surprising Takeda, who can't believe anyone would turn down such an amount. Takeda insists that the current era revolves around money. At that moment, one of the men who had been in prison enters and says, "I am a street fighter, broke, and I want you to hire me." Takeda asks him if he thinks he's worth the money, to which the man replies, "If the legendary fighter Batusai wants to test me, let's go." Everyone is shocked to realize that Batusai is among them. The fighter challenges Batusai, saying, "If I beat you, hire me." Kenshin responds, "The restaurant will be destroyed if we fight here. Let's take it outside." "Fight here. Let's take it outside." Once outside, the fighter reveals a massive weapon, claiming it is an ancient masterpiece over 400 years old. He assures Kenshin not to worry, as it hasn't failed him yet. The fighter begins attacking Kenshin, but Kenshin easily dodges his strikes. To avoid killing him, Kenshin keeps evading. The fighter chases after him, mocking him for running away, saying, "The most dangerous killer, Batusai, is running away?" Kenshin suddenly stops and stands his ground, but continues to dodge all of the fighter's attacks. Eventually, Kenshin manages to disarm the fighter, planting his weapon in the ground. The fighter lifts the weapon and knocks Kenshin away with it. Kenshin asks the fighter, "Is it natural for someone like you to serve someone like him?" The fighter pauses to think and then says, "Forget it, I'm sure I'll end up back in prison anyway." He orders everyone to return to their places. Kuru takes Kenshin back inside to finish their meal. From that moment, the fake Batusai begins committing more murders, especially targeting police officers, to prove he is the real Batusai. While investigating the scene of the murdered officers, the fake Batusai approaches Kenshin and tells him that the men who attacked the school were responsible for what happened. If you had killed them back then, all these officers wouldn't have ended up like this. At that moment, Batusai sees a woman mourning her father and remembers 14 years ago when he used to kill people just like the fake Batusai. He used to leave a note explaining the reason for the execution as well. We learn that the scar on his face was caused by someone Batusai tried to kill but failed to finish off in one attempt, and that person managed to wound him on his face. While Batusai is lost in painful memories, Kaoru comes looking for him, worried he might have left her and gone, but he reassures her with a smile and admits he's hungry and wants to eat. At the same time, Takeda had acquired a new weapons deal and was thrilled about it. He decided to dig a tunnel at his school and expand his opium business, planning to distribute it to all the neighboring countries. Shortly after, one of Takeda's guards arrives at the school to threaten Megumi, warning her that she's involved in the opium trade and to watch out for herself before leaving. Later, while everyone is sitting down to eat, a family from nearby brings their sick daughter to the school. The girl is gravely ill, and the bigger issue is that all the doctors in the city disappeared 2 days ago. Megumi rushes to the well and drinks its water, confirming that Takeda's assistant, who had warned her earlier, had poisoned all the water in the area. The crisis worsens as more families arrive with their sick children, all showing the same symptoms. Megumi realizes it's rat poison and instructs everyone to induce vomiting to expel the poison from their systems. She orders them to fetch water, but not from the poisoned well. They manage to save the children just in time, and soon they are all okay. As Batusai goes to Megumi to ask who she really is, one of the people at the school reveals that she belongs to the Takani family, who were renowned doctors. However, it was believed that her entire family perished in the war, but it's now clear that she's the sole survivor. Megumi confesses everything to Batusai, from her family's death in the war to her employment under Takeda, where she began producing opium. She regrets it deeply now, as it has destroyed many lives. At night, Batusai decides to confront Takeda to put an end to him and save the city and its people. However, a fighter named Sagara offers to join him in the battle, as Takeda has around 250 samurai guards. As they prepare to leave, Kaoru calls out to Batusai and informs him that Megumi has left and gone to Takeda. This upsets him greatly, knowing she's putting her life in danger. Yahiko also decides to join the fight, but Batusai tells him to stay behind and protect the school and Kaoru. Meanwhile, Megumi reaches Takeda's mansion. The guards let her in immediately, and when she sees Takeda, he says he knew she'd come back. He tells her to resume her work on the opium the next day, but she interrupts him, declaring that she won't produce opium anymore. When he asks why she came, she reveals her intent to kill him, pulling out a knife and injuring him. She almost finishes him off, but one of his guards saves him, and another begins beating her and yelling at her for trying to kill Takeda. At that moment, a loud noise is heard outside. The fake Batusai claims the man has arrived. Batusai and Sagara had reached the location and launched a fierce attack on Takeda's samurai fighters, taking them down one by one. None of the guards could stand against them. Takeda appears at the window, holding Megumi hostage, and throws a lot of money at them, ordering his men to finish them off, but of course, money was useless at that moment. Batusai unleashes the beast within him and continues his assault alongside Sagara, eliminating all the fighters below. When they enter the house to confront Takeda, they face one of his personal guards who asks, "Who will fight me?" Sagara steps up, telling Batusai to go find Megumi, and the two engage in an intense battle. Meanwhile, Batusai encounters another guard upstairs who questions whether saving Megumi is worth all this trouble. Batusai responds that everyone deserves a chance and that anyone can be saved. However, the second guard tricks Batusai and sets a trap, tying him up by his legs. Sagara continues his tough fight with the other guard, but begins to lose strength as his opponent gains the upper hand. Meanwhile, upstairs, the guard aims a gun at the suspended Batusai and fires, cutting the rope holding him. Batusai quickly dodges the attacks and lands on the ground, engaging in a fierce battle with his opponent. Despite everything Takeda and his men have done, Batusai fights with his reversed blade sword to avoid killing anyone. Sagara and his opponent, still battling in the kitchen, take a break when Sagara picks up a chicken from the ground and starts eating it. He even offers some to his opponent, who declines, saying he's vegetarian. They share some wine and resume their fight afterward. Batusai, on the other hand, continues his battle against his opponent, whose quick movements make him a challenging adversary. However, Batusai's speed prevents the guard from landing a fatal blow. Frustrated by Batusai's reversed blade, the guard attacks with all his might, but Batusai manages to strike him swiftly across the face, leaving a scar but sparing his life. The guard, enraged, retaliates but is quickly incapacitated by Batusai, who wounds his legs and arm, rendering him unable to fight. Meanwhile, Sagara overpowers his opponent with a series of strong blows, slamming him to the ground and finishing him off. They proceed to Takeda's location, only to be met with heavy gunfire from behind a door. Takeda uses his newly acquired weapon, leaving them to realize they cannot confront him directly while he's armed. He was holding the weapon, and at that moment he tried to make his men enter, but the other one fired at him with the weapon and was about to finish him off. At that time, Officer Saito arrived at the scene and informed Batusai that Takeda was the one who came to him and told him what they were doing. He also learned that as long as the weapon was operational, Takeda wouldn't be able to change its direction. So his men started deceiving Takeda by pretending to surrender, raising both hands in the air. Batusai also entered, placing his sword on the ground, as if they had truly surrendered. Then Takeda told them, "Bow down and beg for forgiveness, you dogs." One of his men pulled out an egg and threw it in his face. Each of them ran in a different direction, successfully distracting him. Saito then entered and jumped, causing the chandelier to fall on him, completely separating him from the weapon. As he was about to get up, he found Batusai above him, pinning him with his sword. At that moment, Saito told Batusai to leave now and that he would take care of the coward. Batusai quickly left with his men, freeing Megumi from her captivity. However, the problem was that she told him to hurry and save Kaoru, as she was in danger. At the same time, the fake Batusai had reached Kaoru and taken her with him. The next day, when Kaoru regained consciousness, she found herself tied up in the middle of the forest. Within minutes, Batusai arrived. The fake Batusai began provoking him to fight with all his strength to prove who the real Batusai was. He also struck Kaoru in front of him to provoke him further. The fake Batusai leaped into the air and attacked Batusai with all his might to kill him, managing to wound his arm. Despite this, Batusai defeated him using his reverse blade sword. In the midst of the battle, Batusai delivered a powerful strike that caused the fake Batusai to drop his sword. However, he grabbed it with his other hand and managed to inflict a severe wound on Batusai's abdomen. Batusai continued fighting until he overpowered him, knocking him far away. He told him, "Even after all this, you still haven't reached the level of the old Batusai." Then he used his magic to control Kaoru and began choking her, giving Batusai only 2 minutes to save her. Batusai rushed toward him, wounding his face with his sword, and commanded him to lift the spell off her if he wanted to keep his life. However, the fake Batusai told him he had two choices. Either she does it herself, or Batusai kills him. Batusai became extremely angry and began attacking him with all his strength. But the fake Batusai wasn't easy to defeat and even managed to overpower Batusai, stabbing him in Batusai. Then he used his magic to control Kaoru and began choking her, giving Batusai only 2 minutes to save her. Batusai rushed toward him, wounding his face with his sword, and commanded him to lift the spell off her if he wanted to keep his life. However, the fake Batusai told him he had two choices. Either she does it herself, or Batusai kills him. Batusai became extremely extremely angry and began attacking him with all his strength. But the fake Batasai wasn't easy to defeat and even managed to overpower Batasai, stabbing him in the shoulder and knocking him to the ground. At that moment, he attacked him again with great force until he finally defeated him, striking him on the head with the back of his sword, nearly breaking it with the force of the blow. Then he used one of his secret techniques, striking him with the sword in one direction and with the sheath in the other, breaking his arm. However, due to this secret technique, the fake Batasai realized he would never be able to fight anyone again. Batasai was about to break the vow he had made to himself and kill again for Kaoru's sake, but Kaoru broke free from the spell at the last moment and begged him not to return to killing so he could remain the Kenshin she knew. As for the fake Batasai, when he realized he was utterly defeated and incapacitated, he decided to end his own life with his sword. Batasai took Kaoru and left the place, encountering Saito on the way. As soon as Saito saw him, he said, "See what not killing has led us to." But Batasai remained true to his vow, replying, "Killing breeds hatred, and hatred kills. To break this cycle, one must wield a sword that does not kill." He then left the place, leaving Saito behind. The police arrested Takeda, who was on the verge of being captured, along with all his men. Batasai returned to being Kenshin, no longer killing, and continued his life with Kaoru and Megumi at the school. The movie ends there. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos. Welcome to Plot Twist, your place for quick summaries of movies with jaw-dropping twists. Let's dive in. Our story begins with the student Barry. The entire school bullies him and wants to beat him up because he has a serious illness that makes it hard for him to breathe. Additionally, he suffers from hallucinations and always imagines himself on an adventure with his favorite star, Chuck Norris. Despite his illness, there was a girl named Laren who admired him and helped him against the bullies because he had a kind heart and wished good for everyone. His teacher in class, Noreen, when she learned about Barry's situation, requested to meet his father, Jerry, to try and solve the problem. Noreen told Jerry that his son is sick and, to recover and become normal, he needs to participate in an activity to release all his energy. She suggested he learn martial arts to channel his energy. When Jerry heard this, he met Kelly, the school coach, and asked him to train Barry along with his classmates. However, Kelly refused because Barry was sick and struggled to breathe. This made Barry upset, and he thanked him sarcastically. That night, while Barry was watching TV, he suddenly imagined himself with his favorite star, Chuck Norris, on a mission to rescue his teacher, Noreen, with the enemy being Coach Kelly. But before the mission could continue, his father, Jerry, suddenly entered and turned off the TV because it was late. He told Barry that starting tomorrow, he would meet a private coach to learn all the martial arts moves. The next day, Barry met Mr. Lee, a Chinese martial arts master who also owned a restaurant with Noreen. Mr. Lee told Barry, "We will start training from now." Suddenly, a group of thugs stormed into the restaurant and began breaking everything. However, they were shocked by Mr. Lee's strength as he taught them a lesson and drove them out. The next day, while Barry was in the school auditorium, a student named Tom caused trouble. The teacher told Tom he would test him, and if he couldn't answer the question, he would be suspended for 2 weeks. Tom didn't know the answer, so Laren whispered it to Barry to save Tom from the situation. When Barry helped Tom, Tom despised him because he was sick and decided to attack him with the other bullies at school. When Tom hit and insulted Barry, Barry nearly died because he couldn't breathe. Tom told him, "No one likes you." After being beaten up in front of the whole school, Barry decided to train and build his fitness to become strong and confront Tom, the bully. However, during a rope climbing challenge, Barry initially refused out of fear of failing in front of everyone. But when he saw his friend Laren cheering for him, he decided to put in his best effort. As he began climbing, he thought about giving up because it was very difficult for him. In a moment of imagination, he envisioned his favorite star giving him advice and guidance to succeed. With determination, Barry managed to climb the entire rope, surprising the students who thought he was a failure. He exceeded all expectations and succeeded because he didn't give up easily. After school, Barry walked home with his friend Laren, and he decided to confess his feelings for her. Laren told him she don't feel the same. Suddenly, Barry fainted from exhaustion and began imagining himself trapped with no way out, feeling like he would die. He tried to find a solution, but ultimately failed and woke up in the hospital in critical condition. His father, Jerry, and teacher Noreen learned that Barry could recover. Mr. Lee decided to personally intervene and use one of his secret remedies to restore Barry's health. The next day, Barry returned stronger, and Mr. Lee began rigorous training with him to teach him martial arts from scratch until he became a professional, capable of defending himself. However, because of his respiratory illness, the training was very challenging, and Barry started to think about giving up. The following day at school, Tom mocked Barry, but Barry tried to remain calm because he was still a beginner in martial arts and wasn't ready to fight him. Later, Mr. Lee gave Barry a Chinese nunchaku, teaching him how to control its movement to better handle his opponents. Initially, Barry thought it was easy, but the nunchaku hit him multiple times. Mr. Lee told him, "You must master it from the first attempt." He began training Barry in the first martial arts moves he would use against the bully, Tom.
Moves he would use against the bully, Tom. The next day at school, Tom insulted Barry. Barry responded, but Tom blindsided him, causing him to fall. However, Barry suddenly used the skills he learned from Mr. Lee in their confrontation. The fight between the two was intense because Tom was a skilled fighter. The school coach intervened to stop the fight. Laren then asked Barry Barry out for the weekend, and he agreed. The next day in the school auditorium, Tom handed Barry a challenge invitation for the school tournament to seek revenge. At the end of the week, Barry told Mr. Lee that he wasn't ready to face Tom because Tom was very strong. Mr. Lee assured him, "Starting tomorrow, we will train in new martial arts techniques. But for now, enjoy your time with your friend Laren." The next day, Mr. Lee reviewed all the martial arts training with Barry and taught him how to break bricks with ease. After a long period of preparation, the tournament was ready. However, before it began, Mr. Lee faced a problem. Barry might not be allowed to register because of his illness. Suddenly, when Chuck Norris appeared, Noreen spoke to him to surprise Barry and encourage him to join the team. When Barry saw Chuck Norris, he was shocked to see his favorite star. Norris told him, "Today is your day to win and prove yourself to the world." The tournament began, divided into two parts. The first was a demonstration of martial arts skills, and the second was decisive matchups. In the first round, Barry entered the ring and began showcasing his nunchaku skills. He was very nervous because of the large audience, but he imagined himself as a ninja warrior, mastering weapons to overcome his anxiety and succeed in his performance. The second round was between Coach Kelly's team, which included the bully Tom, and Chuck Norris's team, led by Barry. The two teams faced off, and the fight initially favored Norris, who easily defeated Coach Kelly and won the match. This left the final showdown between Barry and the bully Tom. The final challenge was a brick-breaking competition. Tom went first and managed to break all the bricks. When it was Barry's turn, Mr. Lee encouraged him to break the bricks, and Barry succeeded, feeling very happy. However, when he learned there was another set of bricks with even more to break, he was shocked. Fortunately, Tom failed to break them, and it was Barry's turn. Before Tom started, he intervened angrily and said to him, "You are weak." Of course, as soon as Barry heard that, he completely lost focus. So Mr. Lee decided to ignite the pile of bricks to help him focus on the target easily. And here, Barry managed to break all the bricks, won the championship, and proved himself in front of everyone. The next day, Chuck Norris said to Barry, "At first it was a dream for you to see me, your favorite star, but now the dream has come true and became a reality." And that was the end of the movie. Subscribe to see the upcoming videos. Thank you. Welcome to Plot Twist, your place for quick summaries of movies with jaw-dropping twists. Let's dive in. The movie begins in the house of the scientist Seth Roman, who was conducting an experiment on a watch he invented that controls time. His ring was fixing electrical cables. When an eagle flies toward him, it drops them to the ground and then flies to perch on the lab window of Seth Roman. At that time, Seth Roman was working on the invention of the time-controlling watch and recording his observations because he had completed the invention and everything, but there was still a mistake he was trying to fix. At that moment, a feather from the eagle falls into the chemical substance he was working with, causing it to dissolve instantly, and the substance's color changes from red to green. At that time, Seth Roman was talking to Priya, his wife, to check on their baby. Priya asks him to stop the experiment and focus on them because she feels this experiment will eventually backfire on them, but Seth Roman convinces her that he is doing all of this for them. Priya hangs up and hands him the baby, then goes to prepare the baby's formula. Seth Roman takes the baby and places him in a secret room in a crib he invented himself, equipped with many features. It plays the songs the baby loves, calms him down, and even soothes him when he cries. He then resumes the experiment, which succeeds this time with a 100% success rate after drawing power and electricity from the entire building, activating the watch. At that moment, Athreya, Seth Roman's brother, arrives with his men. It turns out that Athreya's guard was a spy who informed him of all of Seth Roman's progress in the experiment. The guard opens the gate for them, and as soon as Athreya sees him, he demands a reward for passing on all the information, but Athreya's response is a bullet to the head, the end of every traitor. Then he and his men enter the mansion. Priya, at that moment, was putting the baby to sleep. Seth Roman hears the sound of something breaking. When he sees the guard's body on the floor, he runs to look for Priya. But before that, he quickly hides all the project data in a book in his library and places the watch in a wooden box with a unique automatic key, leaving it with his son in the crib. When he finds Priya tied up and his brother playing the piano, Athreya threatens him to hand over the watch, or else he will kill his wife. We learn that Athreya is extremely envious of Seth Roman's success. He mentions that they are complete opposites, and the 3 minutes that separated their births made all the difference between the two brothers. One was good, and the other was evil. Complete opposites, like two forces clashing head-on. When Cicero Man refused to reveal anything, Asteria took it upon himself to search everywhere until he heard the sound of a child crying. But as he approached to determine the source of the sound, the bed suddenly activated, silencing it. At that moment, Asteria noticed a peculiar mark on the library and immediately suspected that Cicero was hiding something inside a book. However, he chose to return to his older brother first to learn the watch's location. To prove he wasn't bluffing and had no mercy, he killed Baria. Unbeknownst to them, Baria had spilled a chemical substance earlier, which upon contact with the floor caused erosion. A few drops of the chemical reached a gas pipe, triggering a massive explosion that sent both brothers flying towards Cicero Man. Seizing the opportunity, Cicero Man rushed to a secret room, escaped with his son through an underground tunnel, and Asria was unable to catch up. Determined, Asria took his men and pursued them into the forest. As they neared their escape point at a bridge, Cicero Man spotted an approaching train and leaped onto it, taking the risk. His brother, unwilling to let him go, followed suit with motorcycles. Once inside the train, Cicero Man made a quick decision. His son, Anda, was among the passengers with the watch box, so he moved to another car sitting beside a baby's crib. Asria, thinking the watch was in the crib, struck, killing Cicero Man. However, when he opened the crib, he found it empty and realized the mechanism inside was working backward. Panicking, he assumed it was a bomb, and as he attempted to throw it out the window, he was shocked to find it was chained. Gathering his wits, he jumped off the train from the bridge, only to discover that it was neither a reverse bomb nor anything dangerous. It had been nothing more than a trick by Cicero Man, who was playing with time itself through his son. Meanwhile, Cicero Man's son was taken in by a woman who raised him, and he grew up as Mani. The woman lived in the city, running a shop where she repaired and sold watches. She had kept Cicero Man's watch box all these years, using it in various ways, balancing a broken chair, propping up a walking stick, and even supporting a working watch. Yet the box never broke or even opened. His mother, growing frustrated, often scolded Mani for not fixing the broken electric switch, urging him to act like a proper gentleman so she could find him a bride who would cook for him, allowing her to rest. But Mani, fed up with the matter, walked out completely. Around this time, we are introduced to Satya, a beautiful girl who had come to the city to study. Her family practiced a peculiar ritual. Every Friday, they communicated solely through sign language until 6 p.m., a punishment imposed by her grandfather long ago after a family incident. Meanwhile, in a hospital within the city, Asria had been in a coma for 26 years. On an eerie night, a vulture's feather landed on an electric wire, igniting a fire that spread through the hospital. That night, for the first time in 26 years, Asria regained consciousness. Since the accident, he had been clutching the key to the watch, and as soon as it fell to the ground the next day, he was forced to toss it onto his palace grounds. However, he now faced a new dilemma: complete paralysis. When he finally saw his trusted assistant, Misra, his right-hand man, he was in shock, realizing that 26 years had passed while he had done absolutely nothing. This was a cruel twist of fate for a man who had once sought to control time itself. In that moment, a thought struck him. He had to return to Cicero-Man's palace because his research had indicated that all of time was still contained there. The only way for him to recover and regain his youth was to manipulate time once again. He and his men returned to the palace, where they discovered a hard drive containing all the crucial data and recordings. Meanwhile, Cicero, Man, and Beamer made a decision to restore the factory to its former state so they could manufacture the watch themselves. The key, former state so they could manufacture the watch themselves. The key, however, had taken an unexpected journey. It had been passed from one garbage dump to another. The key eventually ends up with one of the merchants that Mani's mother visits. The key falls off the cart and sticks to her sandal due to the glue Mani keeps throwing everywhere. When she returns home, the key falls off her sandal near the desk, and one of the workers there picks it up and places it on the desk, thinking it's important. Coincidentally, the box was also on the desk. When Mani returns, he notices that the key resembles the logo on the box. He tries to open it and is surprised when the box opens, revealing a watch inside. At that moment, his mother calls him to fix the electricity. He takes the watch with him, and as soon as he touches the key to the electricity, the watch reacts and absorbs the electric shock. The impact throws him against the wall. Later, when he tries to wear the watch, it locks onto his wrist and transforms completely. At that moment, a colleague gives him all the money collected from customers that day. Mani secures the money with a clip to prevent it from flying away and refocuses on the watch, trying to figure out how it works. When he sets the dial to 3 minutes, time rewinds to the moment he was electrocuted. At first, he doesn't understand what's happening, but after repeating the process a few times, he realizes the watch is a time machine. He experiments with moving forward in time instead of backward, and it works. He learns that it will rain soon, so he convinces his mother to take an umbrella with her when she goes out. Later, he discovers another feature of the watch. It can stop time for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, Sasia arrives in the city and accidentally breaks her watch. She visits Mani's shop to repair it. Mani uses his watch to rewind time and fix the way he met her, impressing her with his talent for repairing watches. He immediately realizes the watch is precious to her and that it holds sentimental value. Mani falls in love with Sasia at first sight and uses his watch to repeatedly stop time, trying to find ways to impress her. Eventually, he ruins her Facebook account and the sari she planned to wear to an upcoming celebration. She has no choice but to wear the sari Mani's mother had prepared for a bride, which she gives to Sasia after Mani convinces her. Mani then takes Sasia to her school. At that time, there was a baseball match, and the national team was losing, which upset all the children. Mani intervenes, stops time, enters the stadium, and changes the player's direction, causing the national team to win. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Sasia's scientists were trying to replicate the time machine experiment but failed because a chemical compound was missing. This compound was originally in the eagle feather used in the prototype, but Sasia wasn't aware of it and didn't include it in her notes. When Sasia loses hope of creating a new watch, she publishes a newspaper ad offering a reward of 50 million rupees to anyone who returns the watch, along with its picture. Mani's friend sees the ad and asks Mani to create a replica to claim the reward. Mani agrees and creates a duplicate watch, delivering it to the Phoenix Company, which his father used to work for, in exchange for the prize. Mani goes there not for the reward, but to learn more about time travel and the watch's capabilities. He stops time to enter Sasia's office and search through the papers. He overhears Sasia and her colleague entering the room and hides under the desk. He tries to stop time again, but discovers the watch has stopped working because its battery is drained. He overhears Sasia telling her colleague that number 144 has the real watch because the duplicate was only based on the face design shown in the published picture, which was a mistake Mani hadn't accounted for. Sasia instructs her colleague to interrogate Mani's friend in the meeting room to find out where the real watch is. Mani hears his friend being tortured and escapes to rescue him, fighting off the guards. However, he falls into a trap set by Sasia and her colleague. After beating the colleague severely, Mani is shocked when Sasia enters, and they pray for everyone welcoming them and had been waiting for her return throughout the past years. After Mani tells a story to his grandfather, they talk to Surya thinking he is Mani's father. Surya joins them, pretending to be the real person, and they believe everything he says. They even invite him to stay with them for a few days with Mani to get to know the son he was deprived of for 26 years. One day, Surya overhears the grandfather talking to a group of people who came to complain about needing a large sum of money to repair the school. Surya offers them 15 million rupees. When Sasia goes with him to sign the check, she is surprised to find it signed in Surya's name. She rushes to Mani to tell him the tea. She rushes to Mani to tell him the truth, but Surya stops her by throwing himself down the stairs. Mani runs to check on him, and when he finds him injured, he goes back in time. This time, Surya signs the check in the name of Sisaraman. At night, Mani disguises himself as his father, knocks on Sasia's door, and tells her that Mani loves her and that they must get married. On his way back, Misra sees him and doesn't realize it's Mani. She discusses with him the plan that fooled everyone, stating that he perfectly nailed Sisaraman's character and was right when he said Mani was the only one who could help him return after 26 years. When Mani learns all this, he spends the whole night thinking about it and how to go back in time to save his family. He then notices the secret code with the suitcase numbers and realizes the clock doesn't have dates, so it can only go back 24 hours. By morning, he adjusts the clock and adds a timer. He gives it to Surya to go back in time and change the incident that happened to him. He asks him about the date he wants to return to, but when Surya activates the clock, he discovers it isn't the real one. It was a trick by Mani to find out the date his parents were killed. At that moment, Mani adjusts the date and goes back in time. Surya follows him when he touches the clock as it activates. Surya returns to the time when he was about to capture his brother. He is thrilled to be walking again in the prime of his youth. He heads to the palace, but this time he doesn't kill the guard. He instructs his men to block the forest path to trap Sisraman. He enters to search for his brother and moves the tube from its previous location to prevent it from exploding like before. At that time, Sisraman is conducting his experiment, but is shocked to find the clock missing. When he looks for it, he finds it in the hands of young Mani. He realizes the experiment succeeded and that Mani has returned from the future. Sisraman understands they will die that day, which is why Mani returned to save them. Sisraman cannot activate the clock because it needs charging, and Surya had cut the power to the house. Sisraman tells them to hide Briad. He confronts Surya, who takes the clock but ends up standing on a trapdoor while trying to kill Mani. The clock falls and Sisraman retrieves it, escaping to the guard's room. While attempting to charge the clock, the guard attacks him and calls for Surya. At the moment Surya arrives and shoots, Sisraman grabs a live wire on the ground, charges the clock, and travels back in time before the bullet hits him. He switches places with his brother, taking the bullet himself and dying. Sisraman takes his wife and son, boards the train, and meets Mani's other mother. They get to know each other, and when she learns Sisraman is a science doctor, she invites him to her village to work at the new school her father built. This way, Mani goes back in time and saves his family's life without losing the woman who raised him initially. And with that, our movie ends today. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you. Welcome to Plot Twist, where we dive into the heart of cinema's most unexpected moments. Every story has a twist, but some twists leave you speechless. Are you ready for the twist? The story begins in New York in 2007. There is a person named Reed in school, and the teacher in the classroom tells him to talk to his classmate about his dream and future goal. He says that his dream is to be the first person in the universe who can teleport from any place to another in the blink of an eye without transportation or delays. He also mentions that he is currently working on an invention that will enable him to achieve achieve this in the future. The family mocks him for this and comments, saying he's just a teacher and calling him crazy. Reed goes home and works on his invention using scrap materials. He tells someone that he's almost finished the device, but just needs an electrical transformer to complete it. His friend helps him get the transformer, and they go to his storage place to work on the device. When the device is activated, it generates a lot of electricity, causing a power outage in the area. Eventually, the device works, and a car disappears. Reed and his friend are amazed and wonder what just happened. Years pass, and 7 years later, Reed and his friend Ben are still working on the project together. They are now older and still in the same school. They test the device by using a small toy airplane from school materials. The device successfully teleports the airplane, but when it returns, it is damaged. The teacher accuses Reed of using magic or witchcraft, telling him to stop these experiments because science doesn't support such things. Later, a man named Frank Storm, accompanied by his son, becomes very interested in Reed's invention and offers him an opportunity to work with his company. Frank explains that he works for a company called Baxter and offers Reed and his team scholarships to join the company. Reed and his friends agree. Reed gets settled in a hotel and later meets Sue Storm, who works at the company. There's a hint of mutual admiration between them. Meanwhile, Frank Storm discusses the project with his company's executives, promising that the invention will soon be completed. Frank recruits Victor Von Doom, a controversial figure who had caused problems in the past but is seen as necessary for the project. Victor joins the team, which now includes Reed, Ben, Sue, Johnny Storm, Frank's son, and Victor. Together, they work on completing the device. As the project nears completion, they decide to test it on a monkey to teleport it to another planet and bring it back safely. The experiment succeeds and everyone is thrilled. However, the company owner announces that the device will be handed over to NASA for further study, which upsets the team. They feel their hard work is being taken away without proper recognition or compensation. Determined to claim credit for their invention, the team decides to secretly use the device to travel to the other planet themselves. Sue, unaware of their plan, is left behind. Reed, Ben, Johnny, and Victor activate the device and teleport to the new planet. On the planet, they plant an American flag and explore the area. Suddenly, the planet starts to collapse and volcanic eruptions occur. The team discovers a strange energy source and Victor touches it, causing an explosion. They try to escape, but Victor falls into the energy source. The others manage to return to Earth, but the explosion changes them, leaving them with strange powers. And he finds that each one of them possesses a superpower different from the other. He finds that Reed stretches in a strange way and everything about him becomes very long. Sue becomes invisible and Johnny sets everything on fire everywhere. The one in their company sees that his time has passed and wisdom is used for their interests. And Ben, who can crush rocks, used to help the American army in its wars. He is extremely strong and unaffected by anything at all. And Johnny, almost the same thing, can ignite fire naturally from his hands. And Aunt Sue can also become invisible and make anyone in front of her disappear and destroy anything in front of her. Basically, they are superheroes but under government control. After that, my friends start talking. The governments say that this power came to them from another planet called 01. This planet was a treasure to them, but the device they made and used to go there got destroyed. So they decide to make another version of the device and gather a team. Only one of them is left, Reed. They search for Reed for a long time. When his men from the army object to bringing him, he skillfully avoids their bullets because he is flexible. He stretches in a very impressive way. Eventually, they bring Reed, and he says he must join them because they are family. He tells them, "You abandoned me," and says, "You ran away and left me." He tells them he was shocked and is worse. He tells them he was shocked and has strange things happening to him. But in the end, he agrees to come with them. He tells them he will investigate the path they are taking. He agrees to work with them on this project to return to the final mission. His mother says he is a liar. You know he is a liar. Then you see they make the second device and head to Planet Zero. They find someone there working with them. Victor Van Doom says they must work with him on this project to return to the final mission. His entire body turns into iron. When he confronts the body, he goes to the company head and says he wants to work with them in the American army. He tells her he is from Planet Zero. When asked how he moves, he burns him and kills him. After that, he kills anyone he encounters. He returns to Planet Zero. He meets Frank Storm face to face and says, and kills him along the way, then goes to Planet Zero and starts creating gates between Earth and Planet Zero to merge the two worlds together. With some energy from Earth, the Fantastic Four go with him and confront him. Anyway, they try to kill him, but Doom is very strong and defeats them all, thankfully, and imprisons them. He starts pulling things from Earth to Planet Zero until the Fantastic Four manage to free themselves. Reed hits Doom, knocking him down. The Fantastic Four unite to destroy him completely. They begin to kill him and attack him with clever plans and stealthy strikes, coordinated. Johnny throws some fire at him, and Aunt Sue hides the fire. When the fire reaches him again, she reveals it, hitting him with ease. Reed stretches and holds him tightly, burning him. Ben delivers a powerful blow, while Aunt Sue is scared until he lands a hit. Finally, they throw him into the main gate, which is made of iron, and he disintegrates and dies. They close the gate, saving Earth, thank God. They negotiate with the government, and the government asks them to work with the army, but the Fantastic Four refuse. They say, "We have a simple request. Build us a company or institution, but we We will work independently. The government says, we might not agree, and they respond, that's fine, but you'll face the consequences. We are crazy and could destroy everything. At that moment, the government agrees to avoid conflict. They give them the company, and the four are very happy. They start discussing future dangers and call themselves the Fantastic Four. If you like today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.
Hello, Cinemaster lovers. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for an exciting experience because we've got something special for you today. Get comfortable, grab your snacks, and let's dive right into the action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get started. Today's movie is set 2,000 years ago when the Earth was divided into four nations. The Water Nation, whose people could control water. The Fire Nation, whose people could control fire. The Earth Nation, whose people could control rocks and soil. And the Air Nation. There was always one person called the Avatar, who could control all four elements: air, water, fire, and earth. The Avatar was crucial to maintaining balance among the four forces. The story begins with Aang, one of the greatest airbenders who discovered he was the Avatar. But Aang, feeling overwhelmed by the massive responsibility and unable to live a normal life like other humans, decided to run away because of his young age. 100 years passed. Katara, a waterbender, and her brother Sokka, who was still learning waterbending and not yet skilled, finished their training and began their journey back to their tribe. On their way, they heard a sound beneath the ice. Sokka struck the ice to find the source of the sound, revealing a massive air-filled sphere. Inside, a glowing figure appeared. Sokka advised his sister to leave, but Katara was determined to uncover what it was. She struck the sphere until it broke, releasing a light that reached the sky. The light was seen by Prince Zuko, the son of the Fire Nation's king. Katara and her brother approached the broken sphere and found a strange creature next to a sleeping boy. Katara noticed the boy was exhausted and unconscious, so she decided to take him back to their tribe. Aang quickly regained his strength, though he didn't yet realize he had been asleep inside the sphere for 100 years. His fear of being the Avatar began to lessen, and he wanted to return to his tribe. Meanwhile, Prince Zuko and his men saw the light and approached the area. During Aang's absence, the Fire Nation had dominated the other nations, conquering villages and lands with no resistance, using powerful machines and ships. The only thing they feared was the return of the Avatar. One of Zuko's soldiers captured Aang and brought him to the prince. Zuko uncovered Aang's head, revealing the mark of the airbenders, confirming he was the Avatar. Zuko threatened to destroy the village unless Aang agreed to come with him. Aang complied to protect the villagers. Katara blamed her brother for letting Aang get captured, feeling responsible for finding it. Her brother admitted she was right, but they had already left and didn't know how to catch up. Suddenly, they heard a sound outside. The creature that had been with Aang in the sphere appeared, capable of flying. On board the ship, Zuko's uncle told Aang they would conduct a simple test, after which he could leave. The test involved moving a candle flame toward Aang, proving his ability to control fire. He also passed the water and earth tests. Since he was from the Air Nation, the air test wasn't necessary. Zuko decided to take Aang to the Fire Nation, but Aang refused, accusing them of lying to him. Zuko's uncle explained that no one had ever passed all the tests before, which was why they said it would be simple and let him leave. Aang decided to escape, using his airbending abilities to defeat the soldiers on the ship. For Aang, defeating the soldiers was easy. However, he found himself stranded on a ship in the middle of the sea. He heard the sound of the flying creature and used his airbending to fly and escape with Katara and Sokka's help. Once they returned, Aang promised to take them back to their tribe, but they decided to continue the journey with him. Aang was thrilled to return to the place where he grew up and learned, but his happiness quickly turned to sorrow. He discovered that the Fire Nation had killed everyone he knew. Katara explained to him that he had been inside the sphere for 100 years. Among the remains, Aang found a necklace he had made for his teacher, the one who taught him everything. Aang became furious, and his Avatar abilities began to manifest. As the Avatar, he was the only one who could connect to the spirit world. Aang found himself in the spirit world, confused about why and how he got there. He entered a cave and encountered a dragon spirit, which asked him where he had been all this time. Aang couldn't answer, as he heard Katara's voice telling him to calm down, reassuring him that they would always be by his side as a family. Meanwhile, Commander Zhao, leader of the Fire Nation forces, met with Prince Zuko. The two had previous conflicts, but Zhao invited Zuko to dine with him on his ship. Before dinner, Zhao mocked Zuko, calling him the punished prince by his father, who had forbidden him from wearing the Fire Nation's uniform until he could capture the Avatar. Zhao sarcastically allowed Zuko to wear the uniform, mocking him like a child excited about new clothes. Zuko became furious, declaring he would find the Avatar and regain his father's forgiveness, forcing Zhao to bow to him again. Aang decided to confront the Fire Nation, but first, he needed to let people know the Avatar had returned. The Fire Nation had occupied most of the world, so Aang needed to give people hope to fight back. Many began to believe in Aang and joined his side, convinced that the Avatar would save them from the Fire Nation's tyranny. Aang traveled from village to village, fighting Fire Nation soldiers in front of the people. In every village they liberated, the villagers would hang posters of Aang, declaring the Avatar's return. However, Aang faced a significant challenge. He had run away before learning to control the other elements. He could only control air. Katara, being a beginner, had limited knowledge to teach him. Aang realized he needed a teacher to help him master waterbending. He remembered the spirit world and the dragon he had encountered encountered, believing that reconnecting with the spirits could guide him further. He takes the flying priest and heads to the Temple of the Northern Winds to look for anyone who can help him or provide him with useful information or a way to reconnect with the knowledge of the spirits. However, he finds the temple abandoned and the priests there dead. By coincidence, someone else arrives at the temple at the same time. He asks him about what happened and where the people who were there went. He tells him that the soldiers of the Fire Kingdom were responsible for this. After the man realizes that he is talking to the Avatar, he tells him that there is a place in the temple that the Fire Kingdom's soldiers couldn't reach, and it might be of help. He takes him there, and they find that the place contains all the past avatars throughout the years. Unfortunately, the man turns out to be a traitor, and the Fire Kingdom's soldiers had anticipated Aang's movements and set a trap. They were ready to kill Aang easily because of their large numbers. At this moment, the spirits communicate with Aang and tell him to go to a place where a great teacher will teach him how to control water. This teacher is located in the Northern Land. When Aang regains consciousness, he finds Commander Zuko in front of him. Zuko tells him, "What do you want from me?" Aang replies, "I don't want anything from you. Don't worry, I won't kill you because if I do, another avatar will come to replace you. You will remain in captivity and return with me to the Fire Kingdom's king." While Commander Zuko celebrates with his soldiers for capturing the avatar, a masked individual sneaks into the place where Aang is being held and frees him. After a fight with the Fire Kingdom's soldiers, the masked individual gets injured and reveals himself to be Prince Zuko. He had freed Aang to ensure that Commander Zuko wouldn't claim victory over him. Aang then takes Zuko and leaves him in a safe place before heading to the city the spirits had told him about to start learning waterbending. He introduces himself to the city's princess and tells her that he is the last airbender because the Fire Kingdom had killed them all. He explains that he needs to learn how to control water. After Aang proves to her that he is indeed the last airbender, she assigns her commander to teach him waterbending. Aang realizes that the reason he struggles to learn waterbending is his anger over the death of his entire family and his constant feeling of guilt, thinking he is to blame. After a period of training, the Fire Kingdom manages to locate him and sends soldiers and ships to capture him before he masters waterbend. Aang learns that the Fire Kingdom's soldiers are at the city's gates. He decides to communicate with the spirits and asks the dragon spirit for guidance. The spirits advise him to show the power of the ocean. He understands what he must do. The Fire Kingdom's soldiers reach the city, but Aang is undeterred. He climbs the city walls and decides to demonstrate the true power of the ocean and the Avatar's abilities. He manages to control an enormous amount of water, far beyond what any waterbender could control. It becomes clear to the Fire Kingdom's soldiers that the Avatar has returned. Although Aang has the ability to kill them, the Avatar is not supposed to harm anyone. He simply gives them a glimpse of his power and strength. At this moment, everyone bows in respect to Aang, acknowledging him as the Avatar. Katara reassures him, telling him that the responsibility he carries is one he can handle, and that they will always stand by him. Aang accepts his role as the Avatar and takes on the responsibility of restoring peace and prosperity to the four nations, ensuring that no nation oppresses or wrongs another. Zarenia, ensuring that no nation oppresses or wrongs another. The movie ends on this note. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.
Welcome to Plot Twist, where we dive into the heart of cinema's most unexpected moments. Every story has a twist, but some twists leave you speechless. Are you ready for the twist? The movie begins in the vast universe and sees strange people standing on the moon's surface, digging and pulling out a very peculiar statue from the ground. Their leader smashes the statue entirely with one strike of her magical hammer. The surprise is that they find inside it the second version of Kamala's energy bracelet. The leader wears it on her hand, and suddenly the bracelet glows intensely. However, she is puzzled when she looks around and doesn't find the other bracelet. Her assistant tries to reassure her, saying that it must be buried somewhere nearby and that they'll search for it and retrieve it. Back in New Jersey, USA, we see Kamala sitting in her room, drawing as usual and creating a new story for Marvel heroes. Most importantly, Ms. Marvel, who is of course Kamala herself. She creates an adventure with the real Captain Marvel, Carol, as Kamala named herself Ms. Marvel because Captain Marvel is her role model and what she considers her twin. After finishing her adventure story, Kamala relaxes for a bit, but suddenly her bracelet starts glowing intensely. She is surprised and tries to understand what's going on, but suddenly she is pulled backward, breaking her closet door. We go back in time by just one day. We see Captain Marvel sleeping in her spaceship, wearing neural headgear that helps her recall events she had forgotten. She tries to remember the day she gained her powers when she was an ordinary officer in the military. She went to fight alien invaders, destroyed their ship, and was hit by powerful radiation, which gave her the superpowers she has now. Since then, she has been known as Captain Marvel with incredible abilities. Unfortunately, this also meant she had to take on more missions and be away from her family, her sister Maria and her niece Monica, with whom she used to spend all her time. Maria was also an officer in the military, and they used to go on missions together. But once Carol became Captain Marvel, her sole mission was to satisfy the Intelligence Corps, which we'll learn about later. After bidding farewell to her sister and Monica that day, she embarked on her mission, and after a fierce battle, managed to destroy the Supreme Intelligence. However, it seems there were significant consequences, as she couldn't return to her family for a long time. Monica, her niece, who admired her and aspired to be a hero like her aunt, has now, after many years, returned to the present. She removes the memory headgear and sees the accolades Monica received after becoming a hero herself, venturing into space. Now, the only one living with Carol on her spaceship is Goose, her sister's cat. At this point, her commander Fury contacts her, checks on her, and informs her about disturbances at the interdimensional gateway, causing a significant system disruption that might lead to bigger problems. He assigns her the mission to investigate the gateway. He tells her she won't be working alone on this mission, but the surprise is that the person studying the issue on the other side of the gateway is Captain Monica, her niece. Carol is shocked, as Monica was supposed to have left space and was working on Earth. Fury reassures her, saying Monica is grown up now and has become Captain Rambeau. At this point, we see Monica with her team, using her powers to fix the issues in their orbital system. However, the problem seems severe, and they can't resolve it. Meanwhile, Carol dons her Captain Marvel suit, exits the spaceship, and heads to investigate the breach in the interdimensional gateway. At the same time, Monica's on the other side of the gateway, observing the breach. Both contact Fury to report their findings. For the first time in years, Monica hears her aunt's voice again. While both are excited to reunite, they are also nervous about their upcoming meeting. Their relationship seems strained, and Monica declines the call, continuing her mission. Both head towards the gateway and the large opening within it. Carol informs Fury that she found a large hole in the gateway, which strangely doesn't close, as if deliberately left open. She notices a pit in the ground nearby and finds part of a golden panel. At this point, their communication is cut off. Monica moves towards the gateway's opening, telling Fury that the breach is emitting strange energy and light. At the same moment Carol touches the gateway, Monica does too. This causes Kamala's bracelet to glow, and the three of them switch places. When Kamala disappears into the closet, Captain Marvel appears in her place, and Monica takes Captain Marvel's place. Kamala, on the other hand, ends up in Monica's place, wearing her spacesuit and arriving at Fury's main spaceship. Fury is surprised to see her and asks how she got there. Kamala, knowing him, tells him she wanted to join the Avengers, all while still floating in the vast space. Meanwhile, Captain Marvel finds herself in Kamala's room, trying to understand how she got there. She notices pictures and drawings of herself all over the room and realizes what happened, that she had crossed through a time gateway to another world. She quickly leaves the room to return to her world. When she goes downstairs, she encounters Kamala's family, who greet her warmly. Although they are very confused by what just happened, they initially think she is Kamala. As soon as Captain Marvel leaves the house, she suddenly returns to her world, only to find herself pursued by strange soldiers wielding energy weapons. She fights them with all her strength and captures one to question him about who sent them. He replies that Dar-Ben, the leader of the Kree faction, sent them. He reveals that they have already taken control of everything, and that Dar-Ben has gone to Tarnax to attack the Skrull people and eliminate them. Although the situation seems dire, Captain Marvel is undeterred by his threats. She enters to fight them, kills that guard, and stands to face the rest of his army. With her superpowers, she manages to eliminate them all with just one energy strike. Afterwards, she runs back to her ship with her cat to deal with the situation. She contacts Fury and tells him that Dar-Ben is going to attack the Skrull people. Fury tries to calm her down to prevent her from going there, explaining that there's a peace treaty between the Kree and the Skrulls, and they shouldn't intervene to avoid sparking another war. He suggests that Dar-Ben might just be making a routine visit, but Carol insists she knows Dar-Ben's true intentions and feels the need to resolve the issue. Fury tries to stop her again, but she ends the call and ignores him. Meanwhile, Monica returns to her lab in Fury's space station, where she learns what happened. She discovers that she has switched places with someone else named Kamala Khan. To understand what happened, they need to figure out how Kamala acted near the portal of the Open Realms. Kamala, on the other hand, tries to explain to her family what happened after she returned. She tells them that she suddenly found herself in a strange world, and is shocked when they tell her that Captain Marvel was in her place at their house. Kamala begins to understand that her true mission as a superhero has officially started. Meanwhile, Carol reaches the Tarnax colony and hides her ship to avoid detection. She infiltrates the Kree ship, where Dar-Ben is meeting with Drogue, the leader of the Tarnax and the Skrull people. Drogue tries to explain to Dar-Ben that there's a peace treaty between them and that she shouldn't threaten them. Dar-Ben responds by saying she has come to warn him and his people to hide in a safe zone and avoid conflict. She reveals her plan to destroy the atmosphere to protect her beautiful city, Hala, which lost its atmosphere after the Supreme Intelligence was destroyed, leaving her people unable to see the sun or breathe. This has caused them to suffer and die, and she advises Drogue to relocate his people before she executes her plan. At this time, Carol is on the Kree ship, trying to investigate, but she gets spotted by one of the crew members, who alerts the others. She fights them using her powers, but suddenly Suddenly, she switches places with Kamala, who appears in her place. Kamala finds herself in front of these strangers with her cat, which surprisingly reveals its own powers. The cat swallows the soldiers whole, shocking Kamala, who barely has time to scream before more soldiers appear to attack her. She uses her powers to create a glass shield around herself, but then she switches places again, this time with Monica. Monica suddenly finds herself surrounded by attackers, but discovers she has the ability to phase through their attacks as if she's transparent. She fights back with her incredible powers. Meanwhile, Kamala reappears with her family, this time with a cat. Although Kamala and her family are confused about what's happening, Kamala tells them that the cat swallowed 2 alien soldiers, which her family finds hard to believe. Suddenly, the cat transforms into a giant octopus and attacks the alien soldiers in their house. Kamala urges her family to leave the house quickly. Carol, meanwhile, reaches Fury and asks him about what's happening to her. He explains that when she touched the portal at the realm's gate, she shouldn't have touched anything. As she tries to explain what happened, she uses her powers and suddenly finds herself in Kamala's house, seeing the alien soldiers attacking Kamala's family. One of the soldiers spots her and tries to attack, but she defeats him with her powers, sending him flying. Kamala's mother fights off another soldier, and her father defends her. When one of the soldiers grabs his weapon to attack them, Captain Marvel intervenes, saving them by using her powers to send the soldier flying back into space. Just as she's about to use her powers on another soldier, she switches places with Kamala again. Kamala tries to defend herself against the soldiers using her glass shields, but switches places again, returning to the Kree ship. She finds herself back near Fury's space station, with the soldiers who were around her also transported there. Fury is surprised and asks her who they are, but she doesn't have time to explain as the soldiers charge at her. She creates a powerful shield around herself and Fury, then fights off the soldiers skillfully, trying to impress Fury so he might recruit her into the Avengers. She hands him one of the energy weapons, and he uses it to help her fight. He begins to admire her powers, but one of the soldiers they defeated gets back up and resumes fighting. Meanwhile, Carol is back on the Kree ship, battling Dar-Ben's soldiers. She discovers a new power in her hands, likely caused by the portal's disruptions. She switches places again, and Kamala, now in her place, continues the fight with the Kree soldiers. Monica appears in Kamala's house, which is now completely destroyed from the battle. She fights off the alien guards with her powers, while Kamala's family tries to help, though they are no match for the aliens. One of the soldiers grabs Kamala's mother to kill her, but Monica uses her powers to defeat the soldier and save Kamala's mother. Kamala reappears at home, while Monica returns to Fury and tells him she's figured out the mystery. The three of them switch places whenever they use their powers simultaneously. Fury defeats the soldier he's fighting and confirms Monica's theory. Carol, meanwhile, is back on the Kree ship and overhears them discussing the powerful bracelet and their inability to locate its second counterpart. Kamala and her family try to repair their broken house after tying up the alien soldiers. Everyone looks at Kamala as if she's responsible for all the chaos. Everyone looks at Kamala as if she's responsible for all the chaos. The doorbell rings, and Fury arrives with Monica to speak with Kamala Khan about what's happening. So Kamala gets extremely excited, because this means she joined the Avengers team of heroes. At this point, Fury also arrives and apprehends the aliens in the house, apologizing to Kamala's family for what happened. He tells them their daughter is a hero who saved her people. Monica shows them a screen with all of Kamala's information. Kamala then expresses her admiration for Captain Marvel, saying she has always loved her, dreamed of meeting her, going on adventures together, and even wrote her letters to express her feelings. Monica explains that the three of them share light-based powers. When they touch the time portal, they swap places. Monica also compliments Kamala's ability to turn light into protective armor and weapons. Kamala offers to demonstrate her powers, but Fury and Monica try to stop her. However, Kamala uses her powers, triggering another swap, and Carol takes her place. Monica meets Carol for the first time in years, but their relationship is clearly strained. Carol tries to ease the tension, but Monica remains formal. Carol asks how Monica got her powers, and Monica explains she was exposed to strong atomic radiation while crossing a barrier, which she later learned was created by someone who didn't want her there. Monica explains everything to Carol, while Kamala's family inquires about their daughter. They ask Carol where she was before arriving. Carol attempts to use her powers to swap places again, but fails. Frustrated, she leaves the house to fly into space. However, when she reaches the sky, she transforms into Kamala, who can't fly like the others. Fury instructs Monica to quickly fly and save Kamala. Monica hesitates, saying she has never flown to such a high dimension before, but Fury insists. Gathering all her strength, Monica flies and catches Kamala. Kamala creates a large glass sphere to protect them both from the impact. Before they reach the ground, they swap places again with Captain Marvel. Kamala and Monica find themselves on a Kree ship surrounded by aliens wielding powerful weapons. Kamala prepares to fight, but Monica stops her to observe what happens next. Suddenly, Dar-Ben appears, and upon realizing they are Captain Marvel's allies, orders her assistant to launch an immediate attack on Tarnax before Captain Marvel can stop them. She also commands him to prepare the bangle for use. Her assistant warns of the dangers involved, including the instability of the dimensional portals and the overwhelming power of the bangle. Monica uses her powers to scan the bangle and its capabilities to gather more information. However, Dar-Ben dismisses the warnings, insisting on proceeding. The bangle is placed on her, glowing with immense energy. Kamala recognizes it as the second bangle from her grandmother's set and hides her own bangle to prevent anyone from noticing. Dar-Ben's assistant asks what to do about Captain Marvel. Suddenly, Dar-Ben wields her hammer and directs a powerful beam at the two girls. Captain Marvel arrives just in time to shield them. Kamala is awestruck upon seeing Captain Marvel in person for the first time, but Carol quickly moves to confront Dar-Ben. When Carol unleashes an extraordinary energy blast at Dar-Ben, the latter absorbs the energy with her bangle, enhancing her own strength. The three heroes team up to fight Dar-Ben and her guards. Unfortunately, as they deal with the guards, Dar-Ben seizes the opportunity to escape the ship. Carol urges them to follow her and retrieve the bangle from her hand. Carol and Monica take off quickly, leaving Kamala behind as she cannot fly. Kamala tries to find a ship to follow them, but is eventually carried by Carol. The three land on Tarnax, where the Skrull people are gathered with the Kree. King Drogue confronts Captain Marvel, accusing her of reigniting conflict. Dar-Ben claims she came to negotiate a peace treaty between the Kree and Skrull people, but Captain Marvel attacked them, breaking the treaty. This, of course, is a lie to justify her actions. Dar-Ben then combines her hammer with the bangle, releasing a powerful beam into the sky that begins to destroy the planet's atmosphere. Kamala's bangle glows simultaneously. The atmosphere starts disintegrating, prompting Carol and Monica to evacuate the Skrull people. However, they have no other place to go. Carol directs them to her ship, and the Skrull people rush there. Carol instructs Kamala to board the ship and refrain from using her powers. However, Kamala sees the worsening situation and wants to help. She notices debris about to fall on people and creates a protective shield around them. This triggers another swap with Carol. Carol uses her powers to stabilize the mountain threatening to collapse on the people, while Monica helps them board the ship. Carol returns to the ship to find Kamala missing. Kamala had seen people stranded on the mountain and created a glass bridge to help them descend. Unfortunately, the situation worsens with storms and strong winds. Everyone rushes to the ship, unable to save everyone. Kamala is upset, telling Monica they must rescue the others. Carol, however, insists they focus on those they can save. Reluctantly, Kamala agrees, and they close the ship, leaving the collapsing city. On board, King Drogue reproaches Carol for her interference, accusing her of exploiting the situation to break the peace treaty. Carol explains she sought help from an old friend who found them a new place to live. Her friend, who also appears to travel through light, arrives. Seeing Carol disheartened, she reassures her of her strength and ability to fix everything. Here, Carol sees Kamala greeting a child from the Skrull race and tells him that Captain Marvel is strong and will bring their land back to them. The Skrull people all go with Carol's friend, but Monica and Kamala stay by Carol's side to prepare for the new mission. Now we move to the city of Hala after Dar-Ben returned there with the Kree people. As usual, they wear masks to breathe, but now after Dar-Ben struck the atmosphere of Nartax, the atmosphere has completely transformed into that of Hala. Dar-Ben is the first to remove her mask to breathe the new air in front of everyone. She then tells them all to remove their masks and gives a speech, reminding them of their glorious past when their city Hala lived in peace, with the sun shining and illuminating everything, until the destroyer Marvel came and destroyed the Supreme Intelligence device, claiming she did it to free and protect them. At that time, the heroine Dar-Ben tried to stop her, but was struck down. After the destruction of the Supreme Intelligence, all the Kree populations were devastated and continued to suffer for 30 years. Dar-Ben kept fighting to protect her land while thinking about how to restore the glory of their city Hala. Now she has managed to bring them clean air, and soon she will bring back the sun. The problem here is that her assistant tells her that to return the sun to their city, they need a power much greater than what the bracelet holds. The maximum power of the bracelet could be dangerous for Dar-Ben's own life, but she says she doesn't care about her life as long as they can extract the power from the bracelet and bring back the sun. There isn't much time left before their city is destroyed. Meanwhile, back on Carol's ship, we see her fixing the issues with the engines. Monica enters, trying to talk to her and help. Carol is amazed when she sees Monica's ability to emit strong light radiation. However, Monica angrily asks her why she didn't return to her as promised. Carol tries to explain that she was on a difficult mission and that people needed her, but Monica doesn't forgive her, saying she needed her too. Eventually, the three of them gather, and Carol apologizes to Kamala for snapping at her and welcomes her aboard the ship. Kamala is thrilled about this new opportunity to be with her idol, whom she's admired since childhood, wishing to become a superhero like her and go on adventures together. Monica interrupts and tells them they need to come up with a plan now. Kamala gets excited and tells them they will now be called the Marvel Team, working together. She also reveals that she knows the secret behind how Dar-Ben creates the portals between worlds. She shows them her bracelet, which she inherited from her grandmother, explaining that it allows time travel and is the second version of Dar-Ben's bracelet. Monica and Carol are surprised by the bracelet, realizing it's not just a mythical legend as they had heard. Monica mentions that this means Dar-Ben will create many more breaches in the time gates, and they must stop her before she opens another portal. Kamala tells them she saw maps of the solar systems on the Kree ship. Carol asks her what the map looked like, but Kamala doesn't understand much about solar systems. Carol suggests they access Kamala's memories to see the maps themselves and find out where Dar-Ben is heading. Using memory-reading headsets, the three of them delve into Kamala's memories. They successfully enter her mind and retrieve the maps. However, they also end up in Carol's memories, where they see young Monica spending time with Carol, who used to play with her all the time before embarking on her long mission. They also witness Carol's last meeting with Maria, Monica's mother, when Maria asked her to take care of the super cat Goose and look after her daughter when she returned. Maria had been diagnosed with cancer and was dying. Carol was upset and told Maria she needed to fight the illness and return to being Captain Rambeau. But Maria told her that the new hero would be her daughter, Monica, who would become Captain Rambeau. Would be her daughter Monica, who would become Captain Rambeau. Later, Monica returned to find herself in the hospital, supposedly in her mother's room, where Maria was being treated for cancer. Unfortunately, Maria was no longer there. She had passed away. Carol wasn't there either, leaving Monica to live alone all that time. Carol apologizes to Monica for what happened, and the three of them reconcile, preparing for their new mission together. After analyzing the maps from Dar-Ben, they determine her next destination and try to understand the purpose of the portals she is creating. Monica explains that these portals have two ends, allowing resources to be transported from one side to the other. This is how Dar-Ben was able to transfer the atmosphere from one side to the other. However, this means she will create more portals to transfer the remaining natural resources to her land. Carol deduces that Dar-Ben is doing all this to restore the city of Hala, which was destroyed, leaving its people suffering from suffocation, hunger, and thirst. Kamala mentions that Dar-Ben will likely target a city with a strong water source. They identify this city as Aldana and determine that it will be Dar-Ben's next destination. Monica is surprised by how much Carol knows about the cities, but avoids questioning her further, focusing on their mission to Aldana. Kamala's mother then calls, refusing to let her daughter go on this mission. Nick Fury reassures her by taking Kamala's entire family to the space station to monitor the mission and ensure her safety. Carol and Monica try to convince the mother that Kamala needs to be with them. Fury supports them, assuring the mother that both Carol and Monica are skilled and will protect Kamala. Eventually, the mother agrees, telling Kamala to take care of herself. The three then begin training for the mission, working on adapting to the switches that occur between them so they can gain control and fight Dar-Ben effectively. The cosmic cyber orbit managed by Fury and his employees begins with Kamala's family getting to know the employees, especially the father. Suddenly, they hear a strong sound shaking the entire ship, prompting the specialists to rush to see what's happening. To their surprise, they find a strange object inside the engine room and wonder about its origin and who placed it there. Meanwhile, the three head toward the city to accomplish their mission. Upon arrival, they find a massive and beautiful city. Before disembarking, Carol gives them some instructions, including wearing headsets. She mentions that she is somewhat famous in this city because she helped its prince. However, the strange thing is their peculiar clothing and the headwear Carol gives them. To their astonishment, as soon as they enter the city, the entire population gathers around them, singing and dancing in a grand celebration, repeatedly calling Carol their princess. The two are surprised to see all the drawings of Carol marrying Yan, the prince of this place. Carol tries to evade their looks and questions as if they are accusing her of lying. Later, they head to the prince's palace, where Carol tries to explain that the marriage was merely a legal formality, not a real marriage. However, the two remain skeptical. When they reach the king's hall, they find a grand celebration with all the people gathered, singing for the princess and welcoming her. Monica and Kamala remain puzzled by the ongoing events. Suddenly, the handsome prince appears and approaches them. At that moment, we see Carol transformed, wearing a beautiful dress, and she goes to dance with the prince while singing. She informs him that Dar-Ben is coming to attack the place and seize their sea. He tells her that he is well prepared with his army and is not afraid, assuring her they will repel the attack. Carol promises to fight alongside him with her Marvel team and requests their costumes, agreeing on a plan. Meanwhile, Fury studies the strange object they found in the engines, noting its resemblance to a plant but shaped like connected eggs that seem to self-replicate. The mystery deepens as they wonder how it appeared and whether there might be a spy aboard the ship. Fury dismisses the spy theory, emphasizing the need to assess the plant's risks. Suddenly, an alert indicates they have found 30 more strange objects, all resembling the same plant. On the other side, the Marvel team prepares with their costumes, and Prince Yan readies his army. Carol asks him to distract Dar-Ben as long as possible so she and Monica can retrieve the bracelet from her. Suddenly, an attack alert sounds, and the Kree ships enter the atmospheric shield of the city. Dar-Ben and her army arrive to kill the king, who stands bravely asking why she has come. She demands his surrender and kneeling before her, but he refuses. She wields her hammer, aiming a powerful energy blast at him, but Monica, who was in disguise, intercepts the beam. And deflects it back at Dar-Ben, sending her flying. A battle ensues between the two armies. Monica and Carol fight Dar-Ben, initially overpowering her, but she uses her hammer to knock them away. She then proceeds to her mission of creating an opening in their atmospheric shield. Meanwhile, Kamala fights alongside the soldiers, but one of them almost kills her. At that moment, the king saves her, telling her that her scarf holds a powerful weapon. She uses it to fight with all her strength, defeating many soldiers. Dar-Ben reaches the highest point in the city to strike the atmospheric shield, but Monica stops her at the last moment, engaging in a fierce battle. However, Monica is not as strong as Dar-Ben and asks Carol to switch places with her. Carol manages to stop Dar-Ben and pleads with her not to destroy the shield. Of course, Dar-Ben does not listen. Monica reappears and the two fight her together. The problem arises when Carol uses her powers, causing her to switch places with Kamala. When Kamala appears before Dar-Ben, she notices the bracelet on her wrist, astonished and questioning where she got it. She demands it back, but Monica tells Kamala to escape quickly. Carol reappears and strikes Dar-Ben to retrieve the bracelet, but unfortunately, when Carol touches Dar-Ben's bracelet, it drains her power, leaving her weak. Suddenly, Dar-Ben delivers a powerful blow, knocking Carol to the ground. This leaves Monica as the only one standing against Dar-Ben. Despite her efforts to stop her, Dar-Ben succeeds in striking the atmospheric shield. Fury's ship is also affected, with rescue ships aboard getting destroyed. The bigger issue now is that the transfer process begins, and the sea of the city starts moving through the opening. Kamala and Monica return to the ship, but Carol regains her strength, destroying all of Dar-Ben's ships with her powers. The two fly the ship to catch up to Carol, but when they reach her, she insists on staying to finish off Dar-Ben's army. The two try to convince her otherwise, warning that she is destroying herself and won't be able to save even herself. Despite their advice, Kamala opens the portal without informing them, escaping the city and returning to Earth. Carol reproaches them for their actions, stating that they have doomed the city to destruction like Tarnax. They try to calm her down, but she blames herself for everything that happened. She admits that she thought destroying the Supreme Intelligence device would end all wars, but she was wrong. Her actions destroyed Hala and caused most of its people to die. She reflects on her role as a hero, realizing her failures. Monica understands why Carol refused to return to them before, assuring her that they will always be proud of her, not because she is Captain Marvel, but because she is her aunt. Carol now comprehends Dar-Ben's strategy of destroying everything related to her. This leads them to identify the next target Dar-Ben will attack. Meanwhile, Fury's ship is being destroyed due to the spreading plant-like objects and the atmospheric shield's impact. Alarms blare as they try to evacuate people onto rescue ships, which unfortunately won't accommodate everyone. Suddenly, a fire breaks out in part of the ship. Fury rushes to get fire extinguishers, but discovers Kamala's cat, Goose, surrounded by the plant-like eggs. It becomes clear that Goose is the mother of these plants or eggs. Suddenly, the plants hatch, revealing creatures resembling Goose. When Fury picks one up, he realizes it is actually an octopus-like creature inside, exactly like it, and I ate a few from here. Then a very strange idea comes up. At this moment, Fury arrives with the Marvel team, and Kamala greets her family. Strangely, Carol finds a cat similar to Goose swallowing one of the crew members. She asks it to spit him back out, but Fury stops her and says this is the new plan because the ships won't fit all these people. The plan now is for the cat to swallow everyone here, so the ship will only need to carry the cat. When the ship reaches a safe place, the cat will release them again. But of course, the whole team is scared and running away from the cats. Meanwhile, Monica is studying locations to find Dar-Ben's whereabouts. She discovers that Dar-Ben is currently planning to take their son to the Kree's Hala. Indeed, Dar-Ben is on her ship in front of the sun, creating a third hole in the atmosphere. The sun begins to pass through it. Kamala bids farewell to her family, saying they must stop Dar-Ben. Fury tells her she must leave her bracelet with her mother, as Dar-Ben wants to take it from her, but she refuses, saying she needs both bracelets to close all the holes Dar-Ben created. Fury's ship takes off, but it turns out the cats can't handle it and start releasing people. Luckily, they reach Earth safely, and the cats release the energy inside them. Meanwhile, Dar-Ben is on her ship, watching the sun move toward Hala. Suddenly, Carol appears and tries to stop her, warning that what she's doing will destroy everything. Dar-Ben refuses and demands the second bracelet. At this point, Monica and Kamala, who had been hiding, appear and attack Dar-Ben, knocking her away. Carol takes Dar-Ben's hammer, and the three of them fight her fiercely. But unfortunately, Dar-Ben's bracelet is also strong and allows her to absorb their powers. The three unite their efforts and deliver a powerful blow, sending Dar-Ben flying away. She lands on a sharp surface which pierces her, and she's about to die. Although they look at her with pity, she refuses to surrender, accusing Carol of destroying the Kree and Hala. Monica reassures her that Carol can fix her mistake by using her energy to recharge the extinguished sun. Carol admits she's never tried anything like it, but promises to fix her mistake and save Hala. Dar-Ben pretends to agree, but tricks them by grabbing the hammer again. She threatens to kill Kamala unless they hand over the bracelet. Despite their warnings that her body can't handle the energy of both bracelets, she activates them and heads toward the atmosphere. Carol chases after her while Monica protects Kamala. The energy from the bracelets overwhelms Dar-Ben, destroying her completely. The bracelets are freed from her, and Monica retrieves Carol to bring her back to the ship. Kamala helps with her metallic metallic hands, and they secure the bracelets again. Afterward, Monica explains that Darben's actions created a rift in space-time, blending past, present, and future. To fix this, they must channel their energy into Monica so she can close the rift from within. Kamala wears the bracelets, absorbing their energy into Monica. Carol does the same, and Monica charges herself with energy, heading into the rift to seal it completely. Carol urges her to come back before getting trapped, but Monica insists she must stay inside to close it permanently. Carol tries to save her, but the rift closes, leaving Monica behind. Carol returns to Kamala and the team on Fury's ship. Kamala is heartbroken over losing Monica, while Carol focuses on fulfilling her promise to the people of Hala. Carol uses her powers to recharge the sun, restoring light and peace to Hala. Fury and his crew return to the ship, mourning the loss of Monica. Kamala reunites with her family, joined by Carol. They laugh and joke again, and Carol and Kamala test Monica's plane. Carol tells Kamala that Monica will return one day, but Kamala says she misses working as a team and suggests forming a new plan. The next day, a young girl enters a strange house with many arrows. Kamala greets her, revealing she knows she's the superhero Kate Bishop. Kamala invites her to join a team she's forming with Captain Marvel. It seems we'll see a new team of Marvel heroes. The surprise twist is that Monica is still alive, waking up in a strange hospital in an unfamiliar time. Her mother is there but doesn't recognize her. A doctor, resembling an avatar, tells Monica they don't know where or when she's from, suspecting she's from a parallel universe. In this universe, her mother, Captain Rambo, says she'll investigate. Her first question is, "What's your name?" Monica realizes she's truly in a parallel universe. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification
Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists in minutes. The story begins in the middle of the forest with a group of Shaolin monks practicing kung fu. The master then asked one of his students to enter a dark cave as the time had come for the final challenge to begin. If he succeeded, he would become a professional kung fu master. The student's name was Fang. As soon as he entered the cave, he was surprised by a group of wooden dummies fixed in place. But as soon as he mentioned his name, the dummies moved and attacked him fiercely. Here, Fang's legendary martial arts skills emerged. He used a secret technique that turned his body into copper, making him immune to any strikes. He fearlessly jumped among the wooden men and crushed them mercilessly. Despite the large number of wooden dummies, Fang skillfully defeated and broke them all. He felt immense joy, thinking he had won the challenge. But then came the surprise. The wooden dummies gathered together to form a massive, giant wooden man. The wooden giant destroyed everything in its path to defeat Fang. However, Fang was clever and managed to grab the hidden ropes controlling the wooden man, causing the monks who were operating it to fall. They all praised Fang's intelligence and strength, declaring him a legendary kung fu master. Fang left the Shaolin school and returned to his village to reunite with his family and friends, as he had been training in the mountains for many years. The events then shift to the palace of Erdu, the city's governor, known for his power and cruelty. When a man begged him to increase food rations to prevent the poor from starving, Erdu coldly refused and ordered his assistant to kill the man without mercy. Meanwhile, Fang met his childhood friend, Ju, a fish vendor. Fang and Ju had been friends since childhood, but Fang had left to train at the Shaolin school, leaving Ju behind. When they saw each other again, they were overjoyed, but they were suddenly surprised by a strange-looking man with claws chasing a helpless young man, intending to kill him. Fortunately, Fang intervened and stopped him, deciding to take him to prison. However, the wolf-like man tricked Fang and escaped on his horse. Fang didn't let it go and chased him like lightning. The two raced through the city streets, causing destruction everywhere. Eventually, Fang caught the wolf man, confronted him in front of everyone, and challenged him to a fight. At that moment, Fang's mother appeared, scolding and reprimanding him in front of the crowd for fighting without her permission and putting his life in danger. The wolfman seized the opportunity and fled. That night, a group of rebels gathered and devised a plan to get rid of Governor Erdu, as he oppressed and humiliated the poor. However, they were ambushed by countless flaming arrows. It turned out that Erdu had discovered their plans. The wolfman also suddenly appeared, working for the governor, and struck the rebel leader, immobilizing. Meanwhile, Fang was punished by his mother, who made him stay in freezing water all day for causing trouble without her permission. In the end, his mother forgave him. As he left the water to change his clothes, he was surprised to find a girl hiding without his knowledge. Her name was May, and she was fleeing from a group of criminals trying to kidnap her. When the criminals confronted Fang and asked about May, he lied, saying he hadn't seen her and sent them away. May thanked Fang for saving her, but unfortunately, Lin appeared. Lin was Fang's fiancée and Ju's sister. She thought Fang was cheating on her with May. Fang became extremely upset and vowed to reconcile with his fiancée at any cost, chasing her everywhere. Meanwhile, Ju informed Lin that their father hadn't returned yet. It was revealed that Lin and Ju were the children of the rebel leader captured by the governor and the wolfman. Lin also had a book containing dangerous secrets given to her by her father to hide from Governor Governor Erdu, as it could harm many people. The next morning, Fang took Mei to apologize to Lin, but Zhu informed them that she was not at home and had disappeared without warning. Fang suspected that Shan, the leader of the city's largest gang known for his immense power, might have kidnapped her. Shan was hosting a grand celebration and challenging the strongest warriors. Fang appeared suddenly and challenged him to a fight, believing he had kidnapped his fiancée. Fang defeated Shan in front of everyone, but was surprised when Shan laughed and joked, revealing he hadn't kidnapped Lin. Worried about Lin's unknown whereabouts, Fang grew anxious. While Fang was at home with Mei and Zhu, Lin suddenly appeared but refused to say where she had been. Fang tried to apologize for his actions, but she was angry and stormed out in fury. Governor Erdu learned that Lin, the daughter of the rebel leader, might be hiding the secret book. He ordered her capture. Meanwhile, Fang and Mei were walking together, with Fang still upset that his fiancée wouldn't forgive him. Suddenly, Shan and his men surrounded them. It turned out that Mei was Shan's daughter, who had been running away from him after a fight. Shan thanked Fang for returning his daughter and informed him that the governor had captured Lin and her father, urging him to rescue them quickly. The rebel leader was severely tortured, and the governor's assistant threatened to kill Lin if he didn't reveal the book's location. Initially, the rebel leader refused to cooperate, but, fearing for his daughter's life, grabbed a guard's sword and took his own life. This act left the governor's assistant with no leverage over him, sparing Lin's life. Unfortunately, Fang arrived too late, finding the rebel leader dead and his fiancée taken hostage. Enraged, Fang used his Copper Man technique to become invulnerable to attacks. He easily defeated the guards despite being outnumbered. However, the cunning assistant threatened to kill Lin and managed to escape. When Governor Erdu learned of the events, he was furious and ordered Himo to prepare for battle. Himo was a highly skilled assassin known for his expertise in creating deadly poisons. He was also the father of the Wolfman, who worked for the governor despite hating him. The next morning, Fang continued to think about his fiancée, unsure how to find her. Even his mother tried to comfort and calm him. Suddenly, a servant delivered a message from the governor's men, requesting a meeting in the forest at night. Fang's mother warned him to be cautious. That night, Fang met the governor's assistant, who asked for the secret book. Fang handed him a fake book. Realizing it was a forgery, the Wolfman unleashed his full strength and attacked Fang. Fang skillfully dodged his strikes. Meanwhile, Himo, the Wolfman's father, took the opportunity to use one of his deadly poisons. He was about to finish off Fang, but luckily his mother appeared at the last moment and saved him from death. At this point, the werewolf decided to withdraw from the battle because his father was severely injured and needed his wounds treated as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the deputy mayor took advantage of Fang being poisoned and weakened and ordered the guards to finish him off. But luckily, a masked fighter defended him and made them run away like dogs. The masked fighter turned out to be Shan, who helped Fang because he had saved his daughter Mia. Not only that, but he placed him in a steam bath to treat him from the deadly poison. At that time, the mayor yelled at the werewolf and his father for failing their mission. The werewolf's father apologized profusely and begged for forgiveness. Here we learn that the werewolf is sick, and his father was serving the mayor against his will because the mayor had the medicine he needed. Without that medicine, he might die. As for Fang, he managed to locate the secret Sawari book and showed it to his mother, Shan, and his friend Zhu to verify. But suddenly, he received a message from the werewolf challenging him to a face-to-face duel. Fang accepted the challenge and returned to the forest to begin the fight to the death. At the beginning of the battle, Fang tried to convince the werewolf to stop fighting because he knew the mayor was forcing him, his father, to fight against their will in exchange for the medicine. However, the werewolf refused to listen and attacked ferociously. Fang became extremely angry and revealed his true strength, using the destructive Copper Man technique to beat him down. However, he refused to finish him off and let him live because he knew the werewolf had a kind heart and wasn't truly evil. When the werewolf returned home, he was shocked to find that his father had died from his illness. He was overcome with grief and cried bitterly. Meanwhile, Fang met with his mother and Shan, informing them about his fight with the werewolf. However, he was surprised to find that his friend Zhu was missing. It was revealed that Zhu had gone to confront Mayor face-to-face and demanded the release of his sister Lin in exchange for the secret Sawari book. At first, the mayor showed Lin to her brother, and it was clear that she had been severely tortured. Zhu cried and decided to hand over the book in exchange for his sister's life, but luckily, Fang appeared at the last moment and stopped. The mayor then threatened to kill Lin completely to get the book. Fang tried to negotiate, offering the book in exchange for Lin's freedom. Suddenly, Fang's mother and Shan outsmarted the mayor's deputy and rescued Lin without handing over the book. The mayor became furious and ordered all his guards to finish the battle between the mayor's soldiers, Fang, and his allies began, and the fight was intense. In the middle of the battle, he ordered her capture. Meanwhile, Fang and Mei were walking together, with Fang still upset that his fiancée wouldn't forgive him. Suddenly, Shan and his men surrounded them. It turned out that Mei was Shan's daughter, who had been running away from him after a fight. Shan thanked Fang for returning his daughter and informed him that the governor had captured Lin and her father, urging him to rescue them quickly. The rebel leader was severely tortured, and the governor's assistant threatened to kill Lin if he didn't reveal the book's location. Initially, the rebel leader refused to cooperate, but, fearing for his daughter's life, grabbed a guard's sword and took his own life. This act left the governor's assistant with no leverage over him, sparing Lin's life. Unfortunately, Fang arrived too late, finding the rebel leader dead and his fiancée taken hostage. Enraged, Fang used his Copper Man technique to become invulnerable to attacks. He easily defeated the guards, despite being outnumbered. However, the cunning assistant threatened to kill Lin and managed to escape. When Governor Erdu learned of the events, he was furious and ordered Himo to prepare for battle. Himo was a highly skilled assassin known for his expertise in creating deadly poisons. He was also the father of the Wolfman, who worked for the governor despite hating him. The next morning, Fang continued to think about his fiancée, unsure how to find her. Even his mother tried to comfort and calm him. Suddenly, Suddenly, a servant delivered a message from the governor's men, requesting a meeting in the forest at night. Fang's mother warned him to be cautious. That night, Fang met the governor's assistant, who asked for the secret book. Fang handed him a fake book. Realizing it was a forgery, the Wolfman unleashed his full strength and attacked Fang. Fang skillfully dodged his strikes. Meanwhile, Hemo, the Wolfman's father, took the opportunity to use one of his deadly poisons. He was about to finish off Fang, but luckily, his mother appeared at the last moment and saved him from death. At this point, the werewolf decided to withdraw from the battle because his father was severely injured and needed his wounds treated as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the deputy mayor took advantage of Fang's weakness and ordered the guards to shut up. A masked fighter defended May the Ray like the masked fighter Deputy Shang, who helped Fang as he had saved his daughter. Not only that, he placed him in a steam bath, treating him dead. That the mayor yelled at the werewolf and his father. Werewolf's father apologized for use beg. Here we learn that the werewolf is sick, and his father was serving the mayor against his will because the mayor had the medicine he needed. Without that medicine, he might die. As for Fang, he managed to locate the secret Sawari book and showed it to his mother, Shan, and his friend Ju to verify. But suddenly, he received a message from the werewolf challenging him to a face-to-face duel. Fang accepted the challenge and returned to the forest to begin the fight to the death. At the beginning of the battle, Fang tried to convince the werewolf to stop fighting because he knew the mayor was forcing him and his father to fight against their will in exchange for the medicine. However, the werewolf refused to listen and attacked ferociously. Fang became extremely angry and revealed his true strength, using the destructive Copperman technique to beat him down. However, he refused to finish him off and let him live because he knew the werewolf had a kind heart and wasn't truly evil. When the werewolf returned home, he was shocked to find that his father had died from his illness. He was overcome with grief and cried bitter. Meanwhile, Fang met with his mother and Shan, informing them about his fight with the werewolf. However, he was surprised to find that his friend Ju was missing. It was revealed that Ju had gone to confront Mayor face-to-face and demanded the release of his sister Lin in exchange for the secret Sawari. At first, the mayor showed Lin to brother, and it was clear that she didn't see Ju cried, decided to hand over the book in exchange for his sister's life. But Fang appeared at the last moment to stop. The mayor then threatened to kill Lin if he didn't get the book. Fang tried to negotiate, offering the book in exchange for Lin's freedom. But suddenly, Fang's mother and Shan appeared, outsmarted the mayor's deputy, and rescued Lin without handing over. The mayor, Erdu, became furious and ordered all his guards to finish them. The battle between the mayor's soldiers and Fang and his allies began, and the fight was intense. In the middle of the battle, the mayor was about to kill Fang, but Lin sacrificed her life to save him. Fang was deeply shocked, and even her brother Ju lost his composure. Despite using the Copperman technique, the mayor was skilled in the Iron Fist combat style and managed to break through Fang's defenses and severely weaken him. To make matters worse, the remaining guards captured Fang's mother and Shan. Unfortunately, the mayor gained total control over Fang because he knew his weaknesses. But just as he was about to finish him off, the werewolf suddenly appeared and attacked the mayor ferociously, seeking revenge for his father's death. At first, the werewolf overpowered Mayor Erdu with his incredible strength and speed. However, the mayor was skilled and experienced in kung fu and managed to end the werewolf's life using the Iron Fist technique. Fang had no choice but to flee, leaving his mother and Shan in the hands of the guards, as fighting in his weakened state would have meant certain death. The mayor then ordered his soldiers to search every corner of the city to find and destroy Fang completely. Fang, meanwhile, was hiding with Mia and learned from a farmer that the mayor planned to execute his mother and Shan in the city square. He decided he had to act quickly. The next morning, Shan and Fang's mother were brought before the public, and the mayor's deputy announced that they would be executed for being traitors. However, the people didn't believe him because they knew the mayor was a liar. When the guards tried to attack and silence the innocent people, Fang suddenly appeared with Mia and told Mayor Erdu that the time had come for him to face justice. Fang then revealed an entire army of rebels. The battle between the mayor's soldiers and the rebels began, and chaos erupted everywhere. In the midst of the battle, the mayor suddenly appeared and attacked Fang with unprecedented ferocity. As Fang had ruined all his plans, Fang lured him into an abandoned building for a one-on-one fight. As soon as the mayor entered the building, Fang attacked him. However, the mayor skillfully countered, drawing on his legendary expertise in martial arts. No matter how hard Fang tried to overpower him, he couldn't because of the mayor's incredible strength. Unfortunately, the mayor used his Iron Fist technique to dominate Fang. Just as Fang was about to die, he revealed the trap he had set and outsmarted the mayor. He then unleashed a relentless assault, avenging his fiancée Lin and his friend Ju with an unparalleled devastating blow. In the end, the rebels, led by Shan and Fang's mother, defeated the mayor's corrupt deputy and guards. However, the emperor's minister arrived with his soldiers, and everyone greeted him with respect. Fang handed over the traitorous Mayor Erdu to the minister and gave him the secret Sawari book, which exposed all of the mayor's crimes. The minister sentenced the mayor to life imprisonment for his actions. He also requested Shan to become the new mayor, despite his criminal past, because he had helped the rebels and turned over a new leaf. And that was the summary of the movie. Subscribe to receive the best summaries every day.